Now, the story of Nathan Hale is an intriguing one. I think it's kind of a nice little picture of what some of these soldiers believed in and what they did. Now, Nathan Hale was a flat-out spy. He was an American spy spying on the British. While they were in New York, he went in and tried to get information. He wrote things down, what was going on. He pretended that he was part of the British and was a flat-out spy. He got caught as a spy. They found the papers that he had written, the secret plan, how things were laid out for the British. He got caught and was executed for it. Now, this story would probably go away, except for this account that we're going to read. This account became famous because of these words that he said that Nathan Hale, his last words here, are very important. And whether he said this exactly or not, we're not sure. This is not Nathan Hale's writing. This is the account of one of the people that was there and what he said happened. But this has become kind of a strong point, something we remember, a famous quote, if you will, from the Revolutionary War. So let's read this account. This is as he gets caught. It says, "In a few days an officer came to our camp under a flag of truce and informed Hamilton, then a captain of artillery, but afterwards the aide of General Washington, that Captain Hale had been arrested within the British lines, condemned as a spy, and executed that morning. I learned the melancholy particulars from this officer, who was presented at his execution and seemed touched by the circumstances attending it." So he's writing down what this officer said happened, because he saw it. He said that Captain Hale had passed through their army, both of Long Island and York Island, that he had procured sketches of the fortifications and made memoranda of their number and different positions. When apprehended, he was taken before Sir William Howell. So he went around and was writing down, all their camps and where their strongholds were and how their army was set up. But he was caught and taken before Sir William Howell, who was in charge of the British army there. And these papers, found concealed about his person, betrayed his intentions. So because he had these papers on him, that proved he was a spy, and that's what he was condemned for. He at once declared his name, rank in the army, and his object in coming within the British lines. Sir William Howell, without the form of a trial, gave orders for his execution the following morning. He was placed in the custody of the Provost Marshal, who was a refugee and hardened to human suffering and every softening sentiment of the heart. So this this marshal that was in charge of him in the prison was not a very kind man. Captain Hale, alone, without sympathy or support, save that from above, on the near approach of death, asked for a clergyman to attend him. It was refused. He then requested a Bible. That too was refused by his inhuman jailer. On the morning of his execution, continued the officer, my station was near the fatal spot, and I requested the provost marshal to permit the prisoner to sit in my marquee while he was making the necessary preparations. Captain Hale entered. He was calm, and bore himself with gentle dignity, in the consciousness of rectitude and high intentions. He asked for writing materials, which I furnished him. He wrote 2 letters, one to his mother, and one to a brother officer. He was shortly after summoned to the gallows, but a few persons around him, now this is the quote that became famous, but a few persons around him, yet his characteristic dying words were remembered. He said, I only regret that I have but one life to lose for my country. So again, I think kind of a nice, tender story. I think reading that you do feel the sacrifice that he was willing to make. He knew that he was putting himself in this danger. The account of it, they said he was really touched by just the solemnity of this and how Nathan Hale looked at his sacrifice. He knew the sacrifice he was making. And he says, I only regret that I have but one life to lose for my country, basically implying that he would do it again. If he could, he would sacrifice his life again. Interesting story, very famous quote, one you should be familiar with.